Okay, so everybody is now obsessed with the fucking Tiger King. But you know what? In 2015, when I shared his presidential campaign video, nobody gave a fuck. Just imagine the world we could be living in right now. Imagine there's no standards. It's easy if you try. Greetings, children of the screen. Your friendly neighborhood nerd scum here once again. And like everybody else, while on quarantine, I watched Tiger King, and it is an absolutely awful fucking show. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand why people are like obsessed with it, and I get why people are interested, because again, like I just said, I posted his presidential campaign video in 2015.
I'm Joe Exotic, and today this is not going out to any kind of a presidential candidate or any politician. The purpose of this video today is to let you know who I am. I am not cutting my hair. I'm not changing the way I dress. I refuse to wear a suit. I am gay. I've had 2 boyfriends most of my life. I currently got legally married, thank God. I've had some kinky sex. I have tried drugs through the younger years of my life. I am broke as shit. I'm Joe Exotic, and don't forget, I am now stepping my foot in the ring to run for president. Joe Exotic speaks for America.
Like, Joe Exotic is clearly an interesting character that clearly we would want to see more about. However, this show is awful on just about every imaginable level. But I'm not gonna, like, just go into a whole, like, 20-minute dissection of it, because honestly, I don't even think the show is worth it. Because, again, I get the hype, but God, I wish there was another outlet for us to get this story, because Netflix has handled it so poorly. Again, the footage they're using is cobbled from a bunch of different stuff, and I get that, and the story has a lot of different branches and stuff, and I get that, but the structure and pacing of this show is absolutely fucking abysmal. This is a 6-part series, and it should have been 3 episodes. And the only reason it's not 3 episodes, despite how big this story is and, like, all the different, like, sides of it that there might be, like, if they had actually taken, like, one individual who was, like, at the forefront of the story and told their perspective for each one, maybe that would have worked. But as it is, with the way it's structured, if you want to follow what happens in the timeline, you're going to literally have to make a timeline, because the episodes bounce all over the place, and it's not even like a Tarantino bounce all over the place, where, like, the reason why we're doing things out of chronological order is because the themes that are being highlighted within that chronological order adds extra meaning to the things that then you'll see, oh, well, this happened first, but now we're seeing this first. There's things that you do when mixing up the chronological order that enrich the material, and this show does none of that. The reason this show is chopped up like that is because for some reason they needed to make it to 6 episodes, or 6 segments, or 6 parts, whatever the fuck Netflix is calling these, like, limited series special things. They needed to make it to 6, and because of that, not only are you jumping all over the place so that they can, like, literally what they'll do is they'll tell you this story, and they'll mention for 5 minutes this little part right here. And then in the next episode, they'll spend 25 minutes of that episode's runtime telling you the exact same story, but in more detail, while also recycling information that you've already been given in all the previous episodes and putting them in there around there for context to pad it out. It's complete and total bullshit. It's fucking horrendous storytelling. It is worse than anything I've seen on, like, any of the, like, crappy late 90s, early 2000s MTV reality shows. Like, it is one of the worst made documentary series I've ever seen from a technical level. Some of the footage is good, some of the individual editing and transitions are good, some of the music choices are solid, but as a whole, it is completely redundant and structurally unsound and just a complete and total clusterfuck. Beyond that, the show goes far out of its way to omit any information that doesn't heighten, like, the Jerry Springer-esque side of the show. Good example is the one of Joe's ex-husbands who's still alive, who they interview throughout the entire thing and stuff, like, he's missing most of his teeth. Well, it turns out they did interviews with him after he had got his teeth fixed. And they just decided not to use any of those, even though those interviews, apparently, from what I've heard and read from sources, actually gave a lot more in-depth info into, like, topics that are barely touched on in the show that are really interesting and really gives you a more clear view of all these different characters that are at play. But they wanted him to look trashy and like redneck, so they made sure and use the footage without his teeth. Also, there's a transgender man in the show, the one who loses his arm, and despite the fact that the show knew this, and it was actually brought up to them as an issue about how that person would like to be identified, the show completely chose to ignore that. And again, to most people watching, that doesn't mean anything, but this is now, you know, this is a little bit bigger than, like, misrepresenting someone, you know, in line at the grocery store. Don't get me wrong, like, that's bad as well. However, this is now, like, projecting a public image of this person that is contrary to the way that not only they want to be perceived, but the way that they entrusted the showmakers to portray them. So, yeah, and, like, there's more stuff like that, you know. The show goes a long way to making everybody trashy, to making everybody look like the worst possible person they can be, to, like, pull all of the drama out of it. And don't get me wrong, most of these people are awful. Even like Carol Baskin, she's a monster too. She goes through all this trouble just so she can do what? Take the cats away from other people, put them in smaller cages, and then charge money herself for people to come and see them. So yeah, they're all monsters, but the show doesn't portray them as real people. And that's a problem for me, especially when you add to the fact of like how poorly handled the rest of the show is. So anyway, guys, yeah, I get why y'all like it. I get why it's entertaining. The memes are hilarious. The show is fucking awful, though, and I really wish there was a better documentary out there. I'm sure when they do this as a movie or something with, like, Ben Foster, because there's no way Netflix is not going to do it, hire someone like Ben Foster who can really, like, transform into the character. That'll be really cool, and it'll be really fun for all of us. But holy shit, this show sucks, and I guess that's really all I got to say. I'm just going to sit here talking for another 10 minutes about how the show sucks. So yeah, the show sucks. Thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and share it with some friends. Let me know down in the comments, what did you think of the show? Were you just into it for the characters, or do you think it's a well put together show? It's not, but let me know your opinion down in the comments below. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. I hope you have a good one. Stay safe out there. Nerd Scum, out.
I saw Tiger, Tiger saw me.